My beloved child, stop scrolling for just a moment. Do not move past these words as though they are ordinary, because something has been waiting to reach you. You did not arrive here by accident. In the quiet space between your questions and your prayers, heaven has been watching over you in silence. And today, that silence is breaking. There are moments when God protects you loudly, when doors close in front of your eyes, when people reveal their intentions, when answers come quickly, and when the path becomes clear. But there are also seasons when heaven works without making a sound. No announcement. No visible sign. No immediate explanation. Only an unseen hand holding together the pieces of your life while you wonder whether anyone can see how tired you have become. God has seen it. Every hidden tear. Every forced smile. Every night when your body was resting but your mind refused to become still. Every moment when you whispered, "I do not know how much longer I can carry this," and then somehow found the strength to rise again. You thought that strength came from nowhere. But it did not. Heaven was closer than you realized. Stay until the end, because the message waiting for you is not only about what you survived. It is about what has been happening behind the silence, what is beginning to change around you, and why the next chapter of your life cannot look like the one you are leaving behind. For a long time, you have been trying to understand why certain things did not happen when you expected them to. You prayed for clarity, but confusion remained. You asked for movement, but everything seemed delayed. You looked for a sign, but the sky appeared quiet. And in that quietness, a question began to grow inside you. Have I been forgotten? No, my child. You were never forgotten. You were being covered. There is a difference between being ignored and being protected in silence. There is a difference between a closed door and a hidden rescue. There is a difference between delay and divine preparation. What felt like emptiness was not empty. What felt like stillness was not inactivity. What felt like nothing was happening was a season in which heaven was rearranging what you could not see. You noticed only the absence of the answer. God noticed everything the answer needed to survive. That is why some things were held back. You were asking for something beautiful, but you did not yet see the pressure surrounding it. You were asking for an open door, but you did not know who was standing behind it. You were asking for restoration, but God was still removing the patterns that would have broken it again. You were asking for a new beginning while carrying wounds from an old ending. Heaven was not punishing you. Heaven was preparing you. And now something is shifting. You may have felt it recently, a strange restlessness, an unexpected emotional heaviness, a feeling that something is ending even though you cannot name it. Perhaps certain conversations no longer satisfy you. Certain environments feel smaller than they once did. Certain connections feel different. You are beginning to recognize what drains you, what distracts you, and what no longer belongs in the life you are becoming ready to receive. This is not random. Your spirit is becoming uncomfortable with what your future cannot carry. Do not skip this part, because what God is revealing now may explain why you have felt distant from people you once believed would remain beside you forever. Not everyone who was present in your old season can walk into your new one. Some people knew the version of you who doubted yourself. Some benefited from the version of you who remained silent. Some felt comfortable when you accepted less, asked for little, and carried more than your share. But you are changing. You are no longer willing to abandon yourself just to keep someone else comfortable. You are no longer calling confusion love. You are no longer mistaking inconsistency for mystery. You are no longer begging closed hearts to recognize your value. The lesson has been painful, but it has made you sharper. It has taught you to listen not only to words but to patterns. It has taught you that peace is not something you should have to sacrifice in order to prove your loyalty. And heaven has been watching every step of that transformation. You may think you are still the same person because you still feel deeply. But something within you has become stronger. The old version of you would have returned to what broke you simply because it felt familiar. The new version pauses. The old version ignored the warning signs. The new version notices them. The old version believed that being chosen by someone else would finally make you feel complete. The new version is beginning to understand that God has already chosen you for a purpose greater than temporary approval. Something huge is waiting for you, but before you can receive it, you must understand what heaven has been protecting you from. There was a situation you almost entered. You may not know exactly what it was. Perhaps it looked like an opportunity, a relationship, a partnership, a return, or a promise. At the time, you believed that if it had worked, you would have been happy. You questioned yourself when it fell apart. You replayed every detail. You wondered whether you said too much, waited too long, trusted too quickly, or missed the perfect moment. But what you called a missed opportunity may have been a hidden mercy. God saw what you did not see. He saw the conversations that happened when you were not in the room. He saw the intentions behind the smiles. He saw the instability beneath the promise. He saw where the path would lead after the excitement faded. He knew that what looked perfect from the outside was not strong enough to hold the weight of your heart. So heaven interrupted it. Not to hurt you. To preserve you. There are some answers to prayer that arrive as removal. There are some blessings that first feel like disappointment. There are some rescues that do not look like rescues until much later. You are closer to understanding one of those moments now. Think about what you have learned since that door closed. Think about the strength you discovered, the truth that surfaced, the people who revealed themselves, and the boundaries you were forced to create. You did not simply lose something. You gained sight. And sight is going to matter in the next season. Because another door is coming. But this one will require you to see clearly. It will not arrive wrapped in chaos. It will not demand that you betray your instincts. It will not require you to chase, prove, beg, or become smaller. It will carry a different kind of energy, steady, honest, and peaceful. At first, it may feel unfamiliar because you have spent too much time associating emotional intensity with importance. You have mistaken uncertainty for excitement and silence for rejection. But the next thing God brings will not need confusion to keep your attention. It will feel different because you are different. Still, there is something you must release before it arrives. Not a person alone. Not merely a memory. Something deeper. You must release the belief that every delay means you are unworthy. That belief has been quietly shaping your choices. It has caused you to accept half-hearted effort because you feared nothing better would come. It has caused you to compare your timeline to everyone around you. It has caused you to wonder whether your prayers are too small to matter or your mistakes too large to overcome. But listen carefully. Your delay was never proof of your rejection. Some things took longer because God was building roots beneath what you were asking to see above the surface. A tree does not become strong when the fruit appears. It becomes strong in the hidden season when the roots push through darkness. No applause. No visible progress. No evidence that anything beautiful is coming. Yet beneath the ground, life is moving. That is what has been happening within you. Your patience has been growing roots. Your discernment has been growing roots. Your courage has been growing roots. Your ability to walk away from what dishonors you has been growing roots. Your faith has been growing roots, even on the days when you thought you had none left. You kept showing up. That mattered. You kept choosing kindness even after disappointment tried to make you cold. You kept hoping even after your expectations were broken. You kept believing there had to be more, even when the evidence around you seemed to say otherwise. Heaven counted every one of those choices. Nothing was wasted. Not the tears. Not the waiting. Not the nights when you had to comfort yourself because no one knew what you were carrying. Not the moments when you felt unseen. God used even those moments to reveal something about your heart. You possess a depth that many people will never fully understand. You feel intensely because you were not created to live on the surface. You notice what others overlook. You sense changes before they are spoken. You hear the sadness behind someone's laughter. You recognize when a room looks peaceful but carries hidden tension. For years, you may have treated this sensitivity as a weakness. It is not. It is a gift, but only when guarded by wisdom. Without boundaries, your compassion becomes exhaustion. Without discernment, your loyalty becomes self-abandonment. Without truth, your hope becomes attachment to possibilities that were never promised. God has not been trying to take away your softness. He has been teaching you how to protect it. That lesson is almost complete. Stay till the end, because heaven's important message today is connected to a decision you may soon have to make. It will appear simple at first. It may come through a conversation, a message, an invitation, an unexpected return, or an opportunity you thought had passed. Something will reopen. Something will ask for your attention. Something from the past may approach the person you have become. And this time, you must not answer from the wound. You must answer from wisdom. The wound remembers loneliness and says, "Take whatever comes before it disappears." Wisdom says, "What belongs to me will not require me to abandon peace." The wound says, "Maybe this is my only chance." Wisdom says, "God does not run out of ways to bless me." The wound says, "Perhaps they have changed." Wisdom says, "I will watch the pattern, not only the promise." The wound wants immediate relief. Wisdom protects the future. This is why the silent season was necessary. God was teaching you how to recognize the difference between what reaches for your heart and what is worthy of holding it. Not everything that returns is meant to remain. Not everything that apologizes has transformed. Not everything that shines is sent by heaven. But do not become afraid. This message is not meant to fill you with suspicion. It is meant to awaken the clarity already growing within you. You will know. Not because the situation will be perfect, but because peace will speak louder than pressure. Pressure rushes you. Peace gives you room to listen. Pressure makes you afraid of losing the opportunity. Peace reminds you that what is meant for you can survive honesty. Pressure demands an answer before you have time to think. Peace respects the process. Pay attention to this distinction. It will protect you. There is another reason heaven has been silent. You have been looking outward for confirmation while God has been rebuilding your inner voice. For too long, the opinions of others carried more weight than the quiet truth inside you. You asked people what they thought before asking yourself what you felt. You ignored your discomfort when someone else called it overthinking. You accepted explanations that did not match the energy you were receiving. But now your inner voice is becoming clearer. You are beginning to trust the pause. You are beginning to honor the feeling that says, something is not right. You are beginning to stop explaining what your spirit already understands. This is growth. And it is going to change the way people approach you. Those who were comfortable with your uncertainty may resist your clarity. Those who benefited from your silence may call your boundaries distance. Those who expected unlimited access may say you have changed. They will be right. You have changed. But you have not become heartless. You have become honest. You are no longer available for relationships that only work when you are the one sacrificing. You are no longer making excuses for behavior that repeatedly leaves you confused. You are no longer carrying conversations, connections, and responsibilities that require two people while standing alone. God is releasing you from the need to hold everything together. Some things are falling apart because your hands were never meant to keep them standing. Let them fall. What is real will not be destroyed by truth. What is meant to remain will not disappear because you stopped forcing it. What God has assigned to your life will not require endless emotional exhaustion to survive. You have done enough chasing. Now you must learn to receive. That may sound easy, but for someone who has spent years surviving, receiving can feel frightening. Survival taught you to expect disappointment. It taught you to prepare for the worst. It taught you that good moments can disappear without warning. So when something gentle approaches, part of you questions it. When someone treats you with care, part of you searches for the hidden motive. When progress begins, part of you wonders when it will be taken away. God understands this. He is not angry with you for being cautious. But He is asking you not to let yesterday's pain become tomorrow's prison. What happened taught you, but it does not own you. What left you changed you, but it does not define you. What failed to recognize your value cannot determine what you deserve. There is life beyond what broke your heart. There is peace beyond what confused your mind. There is purpose beyond what delayed your steps. And you are approaching it. The next season will not begin with a loud announcement. It may begin quietly, just as this transformation began. A new thought. A different choice. A conversation that feels unexpectedly honest. A door that opens without struggle. A moment when you realize you no longer miss what once consumed you. That moment is closer than you think. You will wake up one day and notice that the weight has lifted. The memory will still exist, but it will no longer control your breathing. The name will still be familiar, but it will no longer decide your mood. The unanswered question will still be there, but you will no longer need an answer to move forward. That is freedom. And heaven has been leading you toward it in silence. Do not skip what comes next, because this is where the message becomes personal. There is a promise you made to yourself during one of your hardest nights. Perhaps you said, "I will never allow this to happen again." Perhaps you said, "If God gives me another chance, I will choose differently." Perhaps you whispered, "I do not know what is ahead, but I cannot remain here." Heaven heard that promise. Now the moment is coming when you will be asked to honor it. The test will not look like punishment. It may look like familiarity. It may sound like the words you once wished to hear. It may carry the face of something you prayed would return. And for one brief moment, the old emotion may rise again. But you are not who you were. This time, you will notice what you once overlooked. This time, you will ask the question you were once afraid to ask. This time, you will not confuse potential with proof. And that decision will open a door far greater than the one you thought you wanted. There is a reason God is speaking to you now, before the situation arrives. Heaven is preparing your heart in advance. You are being reminded of your worth before someone tests whether you remember it. You are being shown the lesson before the old pattern asks for another chance. You will not fail. You may feel emotional. You may need time. You may even question yourself for a moment. But the wisdom formed in your silent season will rise within you. And when it does, everything will change. Because the decision you are about to make is not only about one person, one opportunity, or one chapter. It is about the direction of your entire next season. Choose peace, and you will break a cycle. Choose truth, and you will recover your voice. Choose patience, and you will see what pressure was trying to hide. Choose yourself without guilt, and you will discover that God was never asking you to become less loving, only more discerning. Something extraordinary is being prepared on the other side of that choice. You cannot see it yet, but heaven can. There is a connection being aligned that will not require you to question your place. There is an opportunity taking shape that will use what you learned in the season you thought was wasted. There is a version of you waiting ahead who no longer apologizes for needing honesty, consistency, and peace. You are moving toward that version now. And heaven is proud of the steps no one else saw. The time you chose silence instead of reacting. The moment you walked away instead of explaining yourself again. The night you cried but did not return to what had already proven it could not hold you. The day you decided to heal, even without receiving the apology you deserved. Those were not small moments. Those were turning points. Every time you chose your peace, you moved closer to the life God has been protecting for you. But there is one final truth you must hear before this part ends. The silence you have been experiencing is about to be interrupted, not by chaos, but by confirmation. A sign is coming. Not the kind you have to force yourself to believe. Not something vague that leaves you more confused. It will reach the exact question you have been carrying. It will arrive in a way that makes you pause. And when it does, you will remember these words. But the sign will not tell you everything. It will reveal only enough to show you that movement has begun. Because behind the first confirmation is a deeper truth. One heaven has kept hidden until you were strong enough to receive it. A truth connected to the delay, the person who disappeared, the door that closed, and the reason you were protected from getting what you once begged for. You thought the story ended when everything became silent. It did not end. That was the moment God began rearranging it. And what heaven is about to reveal next will explain why the silence was never empty, why the waiting was never wasted, and why one unexpected development is already moving closer to your life. But before you see it, there is something hidden within your past that must finally come into the light.